Fantasy football runs in a lot of our veins. And some of us, it's ice. In a good way. In a good way. Typically, ice running through your veins would be a bad thing, but in this reference, it's a good thing. For some of us, it's more like sludge in a bad way, as in it would be very bad to have sludge running through your veins. But in this video, we're going to hop in and look at my fantasy team, see which one of them's made the playoffs, and just do an overall fantasy football season review for big old Mike over here.
I gave you fair warning, beware. Smack him in the corner of the end zone. It is up for the touchdown. Smack him in the mouth. I gave you fair warning, beware. I'll smack him in the mouth.
What is up, everyone? I am Mike, and I am on the mic, and I appreciate you for tuning in as always. Like I said in the intro, we're going to be going through and looking at all of my fantasy teams and see how they did, and really just review how the season went. But I'm not alone. I am joined with a guest today. I'm joined by Joe Morley's Fantasy Football Championship belt because I stole it. I'm a criminal. I'm a thief. I'm waiting for the cops to show up at my door any minute to take me away, put me in jail, put me in the slammer, and it'll all be worth it because having this bad boy really makes me feel like a champion. And I am a champion. I'm going to be a champion. I won't need to steal belts. I'll have my own damn belt. But anyways, we're going to make this video with Joe Morley's belt just to make him a little bit more mad that I stole it. And if you guys don't know who Joe Morley Sports is, it's because you haven't been following the Warzone Sports Network YouTube channel, a network I helped co-found, where I feud with Joe Morley every Friday night on Friday Night Wars, the hottest sports debate show on YouTube today. Are you missing out on that? Link is in my description, or you might be watching it on that channel, so go ahead and just subscribe. Anyways, here is our first team that we will be looking at. The format of this league is a 32-man Mike on the Mic Fantasy Football Challenge League. We started it in week 8, and we've been going crazy ever since then. Now, my squad looked absolutely stacked outside the draft, and I made some crazy trades that made it even more stacked. But as of late, injuries and COVID have absolutely derailed my team. We still pulled off a victory this week against a guy who basically didn't even set a lineup. So we're going to improve to 5-2, and we're going to make the playoffs in the little 8-team tournament that's going to take place. I think we're the highest scoring team in this league before this week. We may not be after this week. It just depends on what some of these guys like this team right here did. But we're definitely in the playoffs in that league. Here's my squad. At quarterback, I have Russell Wilson. These aren't my running backs. A.J. Dillon is one of my running backs, but look at the guy that's been hurt. Mark Ingram and J.D. McKissick are hurt. Both guys that are potentially RB1s in the 32-man league, down at the same time due to COVID. And J.D. McKissick, I think, got his head knocked off in a game last week. I'm also down Keenan Allen right now. So basically my entire roster is out with COVID or hurt. But who we have in the game still, A.J. Dillon, of course, at running back. We have Stephon Diggs at wide receiver. This is supposed to be Keenan Allen. I figured I'd throw Andre Roberts in there and just see what happens with all the Chargers wide receivers being out this week. But Mike Williams ended up playing. Josh Palmer was good. Jalen Guyton was good. So I just kind of picked the wrong receiver there. Noah Fant at tight end, very solid. And then my flex is just so tough. I got Foster Monroe in there right now, but it changes, it seems like, every week depending on who's injured or who has COVID. I want it to be McKissick or Ingram or Keenan Allen, one of those three. Maybe we should just go with Jack Doyle from here on out because Monroe has not been great. Here is the Warzone of Attrition League, the league that's playing for one of these bad boys, a belt. I want to win in this league more than I do in any other league that I'm playing in right now. Now, this week's game, we got a tight one with Bolstered Up Sports. He has Chase Edmonds not set to play tonight. This is being recorded on Monday, so that'll be a huge help for me. But he has Chase Edmonds and Van Jefferson still to play today, and I have a 10-point lead. So it's not looking too likely that I pull off this victory, especially if he wakes up, pays attention, and puts in any running back that's playing tonight. Doesn't have any on his bench, but he could pick him up and put him in. So this team is 8-5, but that 8-5 is kind of a little bit misleading. I'm in second right now, and hopefully I still make the playoffs. I think the top 8 make the playoffs, so I should be good. But as you can see, all these teams are 8-5 or 7-6. But look at this. I've scored 2,300. Holy shit, what just happened? As I was saying, I've scored 2,327 points. The next highest scoring team, I believe, is Tuck U, who's in first right now. Tony Tucker, congratulations. who scored almost 250 less points than me. I've lost like 3 or 4 games by less than 3 points. But anyways, here's the squad. The format is a 16-team 2QB PPR tight end premium league. A mouthful, I know. But of course we got our Chargers. We got Herbert. We got Eckler, and on the bench on this team as well, Keenan Allen and Jalen Guyton, who I didn't play. Like an idiot. I feel really good about this team heading into the playoffs. We got Chubb as our RB2 behind Eckler. Not the best week this week, but I think that he's going to continue to pick that up and continue to ball in the future. Then our wide receiver core, where Sutton is right here, that's usually where we would have Keenan. So hopefully we can get Keenan back as soon as possible. Then we got DJ Moore at wide receiver 2 and Ty Lockett at wide receiver 3. Very good. Dawson Knox is our #1 tight end in this tight end premium league, and then we have Kyle Pitts in the flex, or if we need to play him at tight end in the event that Dawson Knox isn't able to play like he was earlier on in the season. A lot of these guys I got via trading, honestly. Ty Johnson as one of our other flexes. This guy has been pretty solid for me all year long. And then Lamar Jackson at my second quarterback spot. But here's the problem. Lamar Jackson is now hurt. I mean, no worries. I have Taylor Huntley on my bench. I got both my QB handcuffs just in case I needed them. But I'd rather it just be Lamar. I'd rather just feel safe going into the playoffs right now with Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert and Austin Eckler and Nick Chubb and Keenan Allen and Ty Lockett and DJ Moore and Dawson Knox and Kyle Pitts. Here we go. Here's my next team. You're going to see a common theme amongst these teams is in the Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler stack. I absolutely love it. Some backstory behind this team. This is a dynasty team that I took a long time ago, like 6 or 7 years ago now. And I rebuilt them all the way to where we finished second in the league twice. But then the team fell apart. So I had to trade some guys out and make some acquisitions for the future as this team started off 0-4. So I threw in the towel and I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and concede this season and we're going to make some acquisitions for the future. This team's 5-8 right now. We are not going to make the playoffs. I do set a lineup every single week because I'm not that guy that's going to come out and just be inactive like that. And I don't want to actually purposely tank. I'm just trading out my older players to try and get some younger players, especially running backs, for the future. So we traded out guys like Julio. We traded out guys like Kittle. We traded out guys like Amari Cooper for a bunch of players that were obviously looking towards the future. Like I got David Montgomery in a deal. I got Rondale Moore in a deal. I drafted Pat Freiermuth. What a freaking pick that was, right? Let's see. Then really the work came in down here at this part of my roster. You look at my reserve slots. The guys on IR. I acquired Michael Carter in a deal. I acquired J.K. Dobbins in a deal. I acquired Calvin Ridley in a deal. So while this team's 5-8 right now, I'm very weak and going to have a high draft pick. I think I'm 12th out of the 16 teams in this league. I'm going to have Calvin Ridley, J.K. Dobbins, Michael Carter, David Montgomery, Austin Eckler in my lineup next week. I may even flip a couple of those guys to improve the wide receiver situation. So I really like the spot that this team is in when you look at it as a whole. Here is another dynasty team that I own in the 12-man league. And we're 8-5 right now heading into the playoffs. We just got a big win against the #1 seeded team in the league, 114-93. So we're going to 9-5, pretty much locking our place in the fantasy football playoffs. Keep track, that's 3 out of 4 going to the playoffs and competing for a chip. But anyways, the Austin Eckler, Justin Herbert stack that I'm in love with so much. You see it again here on this dynasty team. We got J-Rob in the RB2. But we kind of got some options. I have McKissick down here on the bench. So kind of playing those guys by ear. Obviously, J-Rob had a terrible game this week, so a little worried. Also have David Montgomery in the flex that could come in for J-Rob if necessary. Then you look at the wide receiver situation. Stephon Diggs and Van Jefferson obviously leading it. Early in the year, I was heavily using guys like Mike Williams, heavily using guys like Brandon Cooks, and I still rotate those guys in based off of the matchups. But I'm really excited for Darnell Mooney and his future. My wide receiver core in this team is absolutely stacked. Kadarius Toney is like my worst receiver, and this is a dynasty league where that guy has potential still to recover next year. But overall, I really like this team, and when healthy, I should compete for a championship in year 1 of this league, year 2 in this league, and year 3 of this league. Hopefully nothing goes wrong, and that continues. But 9-5, going to the playoffs. Excited. All right, here's my second to last team and arguably the best team that I have. We're 10-3. We're going to be the 1 seed in these playoffs because we just won this week 163-62. Holy ass kicking. So we're going to be 11-3 heading into the playoffs as the man to beat. This is a money league too. Pretty excited. But here is my squad. It's almost unfair. We got Tom Brady at quarterback. I think he's QB1 this year so far. Oh, look, he's QB2. Who's QB1? We got David Montgomery and Javonte Williams as our running backs, which is crazy that our running backs are weak with David Montgomery, Javonte Williams, and Aaron Jones. But the running backs are weak because look when I scroll down to the IR. We had Derrick Henry also. And then when Derrick Henry went down, I traded for Christian McCaffrey, and then he went down also. This team could be more superhuman than it is. Anyways, then you look at the wide receivers, Stephon Diggs and Devontae Adams. I acquired Adams in a trade earlier in the year. Noah Fant, a guy that I bought low on earlier in the year. Aaron Jones, a guy that I bought low on earlier in the year. Good thing I loaded this team up. And then on the bench, we have guys like Marquise Brown that can be a flex play every week. A guy like A.J. Dillon who can come in if, God forbid, something happens to Aaron Jones. And he even has value even when Aaron Jones is healthy. Chuba Hubbard, who was my CMC handcuff, who we will use when we need to use him. Darnell Mooney, once again, as you guys can tell, huge Darnell Mooney fan this year. This team should win the championship. This team should win the championship. If I don't win any of my other leagues, this team will win the championship this year. Defenders of the drum sets. And then right here is my final team, the Do You Smell It squad. It's the only independent defensive player league that I play in. It's a family league. My cousin runs it very poorly. He kind of sucks at commissioner. When I say kinda, he's the worst commissioner I've ever played with. I'm actually gonna be leaving this league just because of him. But anyways, we're 10-3. Regardless, this is another team that had CMC and is really hurt by the CMC injury. We're going to lose this week and fall to 10-4, but we're already locked in the playoffs as a 1 or maybe 2 seed now that we dropped the final game of the year. Quarterback is Russell Wilson. That's a little bit iffy, but then you go to the receivers, Jefferson, Chase, Van Jefferson. Love it. Alvin Kamara, Madison, Kittle, Eckler. Love it. I need to find someone to put in this Madison spot now that Cook is back and is rolling at full speed. Then you go to the defensive side of the ball. We got guys like Jesse Bates, guys like Derwin James, who I forgot to take out, and it's probably going to cost me the game this week. Guys like Terrell Edmonds, Nick Bosa, Brian Burns, Patrick Queen, TJ Watt, some of the best defensive players, especially fantasy-wise, in the league. This is another team that I expect to win the championship. Now, we could just drop a game randomly like we did this week. I'm not sure if this team goes to playoffs next week or not. Right now, I'm set to play another team that's 11-2 in the playoffs in the first round. So we'll see how that goes. I need to make a move and get a better running back, but overall, pretty solid. Well, that's it for all of my fantasy football teams and how they turned out this year. As you can tell, all but one, I'm going to the playoffs to compete for a championship. So hopefully I can win more than last year. People who don't know, last year I went to 4 fantasy football championships and found a way to lose in all 4 and came in second in all 4 leagues. Can't go through that again. Won't go through that again. Thanks for tuning into this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video. I'm Mike, and I'm on the mic. This is me saying, until next time.
I gave you fair warning. Beware.
Smack him in the corner of the end zone.